Welcome home to Void Your Warranty. Today the prosaically named D1 M24 by GE. I think Ethel or Deirdre would be a better model name, but that's just me. This cost $3 from the thrift store and works as well as a $60 flimsy Chinese-made one that will be in a landfill as soon as the microchips go boots up. It was made sometime in the 50s onward and came in suitably dated colours, the best being Harvest Gold or Avocado, which just needs a stencil of plants around the border and a whiff of mothballs to fit in. In the 60s and 70s, the more stylish D4M47, and I'm so glad the brand name focus group was still being run by the engineers, took over with even better colours that then infected fridges and stoves and other kitchen accoutrements. Anyone with any more accurate dates, let me know in the comments. Maybe the most common kitchen appliance in the US, this is the mixer, or one very like it, that your granny had. And with a minimum of care, like don't get in the bath with it or give it to me, it'll still be working when you give it to your grandkids. It's tough enough to use as a bludgeon if those pesky bears are stealing pies off the window ledge again, and simple enough to last decades. No Wi-Fi or Internet of Things here, in fact, no electronics of any kind. Its nameplate on the bottom says it pulls a respectable 130 watts of AC through the removable unpolarized side plug using 4 speeds. Well, 4 if you count 0 as one of them. No load power consumption is 45 watts on low up to 75 watts on high. But you can increase that if you do something particularly stupid like this. So stall wattage is around 250. This is a miracle of utilitarian mid-century modern simplicity. No more than you need to do the job. It has a commonly overlooked feature, which is a screw-shaped hole here, so you can hang it up. The beaters simply clip to the side, though obviously we're missing one, but if I wanted, I could get more from the internet, which is awash with new and used, as these are a pretty standard fit. In fact, my current hand mixer was made by KitchenAid some 60 years after this one, and the beaters still fit it. Now, I don't need another mixer in my shop because this. And I don't need another AC motor cluttering things up. So we're going to do the next best thing, and the most obvious thing, which is to turn this into a screw gun and drill. We'll have a quick poke around inside first because what the hell are we here for otherwise? These 3 Phillips screws, once removed, allows you to remove the top cover and reveals a brushed AC motor with 3 sets of windings for the 3 speeds, selected by this entirely mechanical, so simple top switch. The drive shaft has a fan on one end with a little notch, presumably for some balancing, and each of the blades has a letter stamped into it. Anyone know why? We've got X, M, I and O. Comments in the comments if you know. There are simple sleeve bearings fore and aft, held in place with a spring steel clip, 4 rubber isolation mounts, and at the business end, a lovely worm gear. Let's have a closer look at that. A quick word on worm gears. This is the worm and these are the wheels. They both rotate in different directions, allowing the beaters to whip egg whites into peaks and delivering forward and reverse to our soon-to-be screwdriver. If you really want to slow something down, worm gears are the way to go. This wheel has 48 teeth, so this worm needs to rotate 48 times to rotate the beaters just once, which is a pretty impressive amount in a single step. The worm is doing all the work, so they are always made out of a harder material than the wheel is. The worm gear, however, has a dark side. Because of the fantastical gear reduction, it is not possible to backdrive or freewheel the gear. So if the motor is unpowered, the drivetrain is locked solid, which is super handy for winches and the like because of, safety. Now these gears look like they're made out of phenolic, which is a synthetic polymer that is the basis for Bakelite, developed by Leo Baekeland in the 1900s. Soaking many layers of fabric, which you can kind of see here, in phenolic resin, then curing and applying heat and pressure, results in dense, hard and machinable material. And the smell of burning Bakelite is known to trigger panic attacks in collectors of vintage electrical equipment. The beta eject mechanism is operated by this button and these two metal prongs. Press down on the flap, which is spring loaded, and simply ejects the betas, something that looks like it's brand new even after 50 years of usage. So it's simple, it's elegant, it looks pretty strong, but is it strong enough to drive a construction screw into a 2x4? Let's put it together again and find out. So my initial thought was simply to weld a Phillips bit onto the end of the beta, but that's a little janky. So we're going to chop this off with a grinder and weld a bit holder in its place. That way we can use different bits and even drills, providing they have a 1/4 inch hex shank attached to them. So when I'm welding using a vise, what I like to do is first of all ground the table, which should go through the cast iron of the vise, but sometimes the table is dirty, so I always put an additional ground on the vise itself. I'm using a MIG welder because TIG welding requires more skill and patience, and we're a bit short of both of those around here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold it a little distance away, put a single tack on it, and then we can take it out of the vise and maneuver it just a few degrees until we get it roughly parallel with the beta itself. So let's see how that works out. This is still very brittle, so we just don't want to bend it too much because inevitably I will bend it too much and it'll snap off. After a little tweak, it's close enough. So let's finish welding it up. That should hold it. And there we have it, the finished product. Precision it is not, but I'm pretty sure it'll drill some holes. Full power, drawing 100 watts. And of course we can replace the bit with, I don't think it's going to go into a 2x4 without a pilot hole, so we'll try it with the pilot hole first. Yeah, that overloaded the kilowatt. And of course reverse. Elegant it isn't. However, you could still put some new beaters in this and whip up some batter or dough. Bon appetit. If you want to see me dismantle more devices and void more warranties, subscribe away. See you next time.